Valley of Fire State Park, Nevada was my first experience in the southwest United States with Native American petroglyphs, and I chose this absolute breathtaking place to be my intro to the southwest. Why am I doing this? What is the interest? This alone calls for a separate video and one that I have to do soon. But I've been interested and fascinated with petroglyphs and rock art for a very long time. But about 18 months ago, I got involved in a project assisting in learning about Pennsylvania petroglyphs. So that's the short answer of it. What is the deal with this unique place? Well, here's some history. Valley of Fire has a history of early man as far back as 11,000 years ago. The sandstone is a bright red Aztec sandstone. They are these inner outcroppings that are found within the gray and tan limestone mountains. The atmosphere creates a desert varnish on these rocks, and this varnish is a dark film of oxides and hydroxides of manganese and iron. Basically, it's oxygen and water reacting with the materials, and this black layer occurs in these areas that have little rain. This atmospheric blend has allowed these petroglyphs to be carved into these red sandstone outcrops easily, and they stand out. How are they carved? The desert varnish was the perfect canvas for these rock artists to use, a hard stone to peck in the lighter stone with these designs. Like a brush on a canvas, charcoal on paper, these designs would last thousands of years. Some of these petroglyphs are 2,500 years old. What was carved? Elaborate designs, shapes, figures, animals. Some are listed simply as abstracts. This could be art, maybe a story or messages for travelers, but I think that we would be complicating these forms to assume that we know what's happening in some of these depictions. It's purely speculation at times to try and define some of these representations. We need to take some details into consideration, such as the surroundings, what is happening at the time of the carving, the culture itself. We need the contextual picture in its entirety because their history is over 2,500 years old. We'll never know all of these or any of these details with some of the art. We are only guessing as to meaning. Maybe we're not meant to know the true meaning. Let the meaning be in the history of the first peoples of these areas, leaving their paths, or as I recently read, tracings, for it's their spiritual understanding. Who made these incredible carvings? Indigenous Americans. In description, it was basket maker culture that began the tradition about 2,500 years ago, and the early Pueblo culture followed shortly after that, and the Paiutes occupied these areas of Nevada up until as late as 1865. Long, extensive, detailed histories of good times, bad times, struggles, triumphs. Continuing history and the advancement of these ancestors continues to this day. We hiked some of these trails during the day, and it was insanely hot by my standards, and then we headed to Atlatl Rock. This is the prominent ladder and platform display that's popular. And yes, it's amazing and it's very impressionable. But once I started looking around at these petroglyphs, it was amazing. And it was getting dark and the desert was cooling. And I was just mesmerized. I began walking around these huge areas through the sand and peering everywhere. I could have walked into those canyons for days, just amazed. No matter how high I looked, in every crevice, front and back of stones, more petroglyphs. Shapes of all kinds, animal figures of all various shapes and sizes, symbols, beautiful lines smoothly carved to form these images that I cannot fully understand, but yet they are easy to see the effort and beauty used to depict them. Beyond that description, I have only pictures, and I'm sharing them throughout this video, and I will try to leave them up a little longer so that you can look at them and see the details, the essence of them. But I cannot describe them beyond what I have said here, which does them absolutely no justice. If you want to read some good literature, check out Spirits of the Earth by Bobby Lake-Thom, a healer of Karuk, Seneca, and Cherokee descent. What I'm not qualified in defining for you and meaning of Native American nature, symbols, stories, ceremonies, he is. And he can do so effectively. Be sure to check out his books. I want to thank you for watching this video. Please give me a like, subscribe, and comment. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that as well. I will leave the details for Bobby Lake-Thom's book, Spirits of the Earth, in the description. I encourage you to check out the book so that you may enjoy his readings and interpretations as well. There's a link for leaving me a coffee, which can also be found in the description. All photos were taken by Timber Adventures. And in closing, I'll leave you with the sunset.